Hi guys, today we find ourselves in a VW Crafter. It's an 18 plate, so it's apparently slightly different than the previous ones and apparently slightly different bodywork than the Sprinter, so we're very excited to be able to compare it. So what we're gonna see today is we're gonna be actually measuring it to the exact degree that we possibly could with that tape measure and with relative speed, because we don't want to hog the attention of the nice people here at VW the whole day. Alright, so let's get measuring and then have a few more technical questions answered as to about buying a said van. Okay, so we measured across here, I've got those ones, so we were measuring the door right there.
Right, so what do you want on the door?
Well, I want to see how far it closes really, so can you pull one of the doors in? Alright. Right, okay, so this is the door closing here.
And it closes in there.
So it takes some space here, so yeah, we'll definitely take notice of that. I want to see how we can measure this thing, so let's see how we're gonna draw it here. So if we do a bird's eye view of that, so this is the side of the panel there, this is the door, and it's kind of this corner here, that's part of the van, and then we have this arch here. Okay, so this is the closing arch, so let's try and measure it.
Alright, so what do you need? The height?
Yeah, tell me how far off the ground it is.
53.5.
It's 53.5. Tell me how far it is from there. Yeah.
17.5.
17.5.
Alright, so the silver distance is 103.
103 centimeters.
Now,
hold on. Can you please measure this slit here?
how deep it is?
Yeah.
The deepest point it is 13.5. The van door encroaches a little bit on it.
Okay, but we have at least 10 centimeters of breathing room here.
Yeah, but we probably shouldn't build anything on this bit.
Probably not, but that means that we can completely fill it out to here.
175.
175.
And that's important to note, that's metal to metal. That's this metal here in the corner to that metal there.
So that's the widest top bit.
Yeah, and I'm going in a straight line, not curve. 145.5. Now the depth of this thing, the deepest, 12.
12. Really?
12, that's 12.
So that was the approximate measurement of the back door. Now the next most important thing that is actually very hard to find online is the wheel arch size. So that's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna measure where the wheel arches are located and how wide, long, wide, and tall they are.
That is 58.5.
58.5.
And then from the back of this silver bit here, 52.
So measure how long the wheel arch here is.
The box is 97.
97, okay.
The depth
Yeah.
is 21.5.
21.5, and the height. We need the height of the wheel arch.
Is 39.5.
39.5. Now the distance between the two wheel arches is
134.
134. Here, this is currently the place where we're going to put a Murphy bed, okay? And we don't want it to be farther out than the wheel arch, so we get a nice flush wall here.
Okay.
So, what I actually want to do right now, because I haven't done that ever, is measure that wall, the height of that wall. I want to see how high the Murphy bed can go. Okay, so if we have the wheel arch, then we have the ribs here. These are the ribs, okay? So we're gonna grab the measurement. So from the bottom of the rib to the top of the wheel arch box.
154.
154. Basically you have this whole hand space, which in terms of cushions and stuff, might be actually an advantage. The straight frame of the Murphy bed will have to be only up to here. As you see, this is curved, okay? And the straight part only about starts. Actually, the straight part, there isn't a straight part, but the straightest part sort of starts here, like that. So I want to know how deep this goes.
To the corner, 7.5.
We got the Murphy bed here. You need to work out the turning circle here for it to drop. And then here, we currently plan to put the kitchen.
And in that space is the water tank, the fridge, and some other storage on top.
Now, a very good point to mention here is that when you get the measurement, especially of the VW Crafter, it is 4.3 meters long from this line here, not from, you see, from the bulkhead here, and not this space here. And this space is about, I don't know, 20 centimeters?
It is 16.
16. So that means you have 16 more centimeters to do your whatever. By the way, when we're 100% certain of what van we're actually getting, we're gonna rent a van and do a whole masking tape session to verify that our design is actually smart. So this is just basically preliminary overview of how the van feels empty. I would like you to measure 80 centimeters from this line.
80
from this line, yeah.
There.
Okay, so our couch is gonna be maximum that big. Wow. Okay, so
that means you have this amount of space to get in the van.
okay, so that is the maximum couch size. That might need to come out another 5 centimeters. But basically, if that is the seat coming here, then we have the shower, flat back shower here, and that that's probably about 80 here, almost to the wheel arch, which leaves sink space here, and then counter, small counter, fridge.
Can I get up now?
So what we're gonna do here is draw the arc.
Yeah.
Okay, so
The base at the wheel arch. We'll do it from the edge of the wheel arch, which is pretty much as near centre to the van as.
okay. Okay, this should help us draw the curve of the van. What we really need is to get the measurement of the roof. So I don't know how we're gonna do that. So let's go find out, because the roof is actually something very important, because we definitely need to know how much space we have on the roof to know like the solar panel array that we need. Alright, so the results of round 1 for the Crafter investigation versus the Sprinter investigation
Are as follows. So yeah, with the Crafter, it seems like from when they began to design it up until 2016, they had one design, and then from 2017 onwards, they've had a newer design, and that's with the Euro 6 engine. So Euro 5 and Euro 6 engines are basically emissions classifications that the European Union and the rest of the world use for certain types of engines. And the higher the number, the newer the engine is, and the more kind of, I guess, green and cleaner it is, because most of these engines are diesel.
And really the biggest effect on us and the majority of van conversions will be your alternator to battery connections, which we'll discuss some other time, and it means a Euro 6 engine you have to add blue to it. Add blue to it.
Add blue. It's some sort of thing that they inject in the cylinders to make the fuel burn cleaner, remove nitrous oxide and stuff.
Yeah, in the Sprinter's terms, that's what it is.
Anything after 2017 on a Crafter is a Euro 6 engine, and thus requires the add blue, and it's a different type of engine than the ones previous.
We also asked them what are the most common faults that crafters first encounter, and generally, of course, they didn't say like that many. They can't think of that many.
Plus, we did ask a VW garage, so they're not going to say, well, there's this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, and this wrong.
They all said check the roof, because people generally hit the roof a lot, and because they don't know how high it is. And another thing, which
EGR valve.
Yeah, which is the exhaust pipe essentially.
There's something in the exhaust pipe that basically catches all the horrible stuff when you burn diesel, and if you don't warm that up enough, so if you do a lot of stop-start short journeys, it never gets to warm up enough, so that kind of gets clogged up and it doesn't work. So you kind of need to check that as well,
or
said.
drive your van long distances and you'll be fine.
All that.
We'll be actually doing a video on how to buy a used van, like things to spot, like mechanically as well, not just like externally. Like you can spot rust fine yourself, but
it's like, what's
basically when you open the bonnet, to basically just have a little bit more of a handle on, like, okay, if that's leaking, that's not good, it's something like that,
or if that's missing. The other thing that we asked about the Crafters, because we were interested in it and we did hear from quite a few people at Quirky Campers about it, is ex-service vans. So these are have I got green bugs over me?
Yes.
These are basically like police vans, ambulances, or vans that have been in like services or something. And like, is it good to buy them? And do you what?
Yeah,
have they been used for?
there is a huge debate with service vehicles. On the one hand, they have been serviced very often because they have been used by the police, ambulance service, and basically big companies that need to have them serviced. But then again, they have been driven either like rally cars, or police vans have been used as riot vans, so they have a lot of dents and things like that.
And the other thing is that, like, why would the police and the ambulance get rid of a 3-year-old van? They basically we've been told that they basically run them down into the ground, well, until they need to buy a new one. And if you come across one that's only 3 years old and done 50,000 miles, then why why have they sold it?
And actually, please comment down below if you have bought a service van, like an ambulance, police, or career van, or you're looking, or you know somebody who has. Basically, if you have a story about it, let us know in the comments down below, because we do want to, cross-reference each other's stories before we decide where to buy from. But now, I believe we mentioned this a few times, but VW have said that the body of the Crafter has shifted somewhat away from the Sprinter-alike version that it had, because as a rule of thumb, we're told that a Crafter and a Sprinter are roughly the same van. Frankly, they're virtually the same van, but they're not practically the same van. When you're talking about actually building a smart home, to the millimeter sort of home, there is a huge difference, huge difference in terms of how far apart the ribs are spaced, and certain curves, kinked a different way, and that is sufficient enough to change the design drastically. So I do advise you, actually, when you try and pick between the two, there are significant design differences that will affect potentially the material used and where you put certain appliances as well. In the Crafter, we measured literally everything that we could. As you can see, our rough preliminary sketch, which is upside down. And the thing that I won't say it surprised us the most, but the thing that we were like, huh, really? Was that really that much when we measured it last? Was the distance between the edge of the wheel arch and the back of the van. Now, we were estimating there to be at least 60 centimetres of space. Well, in order for us to fit a fridge in there or something, that is what we were going to do. But on the Crafter, it turns out the minimum width at the back of the van is only actually 52 centimetres. Which is like, that's not a lot of space. What we were told is about a 3 to 4 year old van with about 100,000 miles on the clock. It's going to cost about £10,000. That's pretty much what we were told. I mean, this is by a dealership, so it might be a little more expensive than it would normally be, but obviously this is for a very well maintained and full service history van, and no major faults or anything like that. So I guess that's a good rough ballpark to get in our heads. Obviously you have to account for VAT, so a 10k van at standard price, if it happens to have VAT on it, obviously it'll be closer to 12. Let us know down in the comments below what we missed out and what we must go and measure before we venture out to actually purchase our van. And of course, if you have actually purchased a VW Crafter or know someone who has and they've got any tips or anything else to share, please let us know down in the comments, because we really want to know about everything. Whoop whoop. Bye!